Hey there, thanks for joining. Today we are going to be taking a look at how to warm an email list. Now, if this is an unfamiliar term for you, don't worry. I will be taking you through a quick guide and some key concepts before we dive into one of my favorite tools to help you manage this process. Now, before we dive into all the nitty-gritty, it's important to just take a look at what email warming is. Now, typically people in marketing may already be familiar with this term. However, if you're just looking to maximize your business email deliverability, this is one of the terms and concepts I would recommend looking into. Now, if you're starting a fresh campaign, you will need to go through email warming as a process of gradually introducing your send infrastructure. So this is your IP, this could be your domain. Maybe you've got a registered business that may be new with a new domain, so that is your company name. You might have new email addresses, and you want to make sure that before you send out email campaigns that you have managed your email warming before. Now, this is done by slowly increasing the number of emails sent from a new or an active email address. And you want to enhance your sender reputation. Now, sender reputation is where receiving email clients look at these emails and they go, this is not spam, this is not a phishing attempt or fraudulent or spammy emails. And over time, this becomes a reputable sender domain. So it's important that you get this right from the get go. Now, who should use email warming? And as mentioned, if you are a new business with a new email domain, if you're sales and marketing and you need to use cold outreach email campaigns, this will help you avoid spam filters. So, those are the filters that most businesses have on their inboxes to make sure that they're not receiving spammy messages. You'll see those spam emails going through to your spam folder, and this is done due to having these spam filters on your email itself. Now, if you're a startup launching your first email campaign, also consider this. If your company is switching to a new ESP or email service provider, take a look at this before you damage your email deliverability. And if you've ever had your email or domain blacklisted or it's been inactive previously, you want to make sure that you have executed this carefully. Now, this also applies to even established domains that have not sent out bulk emails. So this is emails run about 10,000 and up. Because of the sheer volume, these could be identified as spam messages or spammy emails. So you want to make sure that you are doing this slowly and effectively if you've not sent bulk emails before. Now, there are some best practices to keep in mind, and that is starting with a clean list. Clean list means that you don't have duplicate emails, you don't have emails that are incomplete or full of errors. Make sure that you are validating your emails before they're sent out. You also want to segment your audience. So that is important to remember that when segmenting your audience, you've got all your inactive or invalid email addresses removed from your list, and that you are segmenting based on your audience. So that may be things like products that you are aiming at specific receivers. For example, you don't want people to receive mails that feel that might not be a good fit for them and then therefore mark your emails as spam. So remember to segment your audiences based on what you are targeting, especially those in the sales space. Now, you do want to ramp up slowly. So it is important to remember, though, that you need to start slow, start small, and ramp up as you go. Focus on engagement. Now, not all ESPs or email service providers or email deliverability tools can help you understand engagement, but the good ones can. And that means that you're looking at things like open rates, click through rates. How are people engaging with your emails? Are they simply scrolling through or are they actively engaging and making sure that your audience is the right fit? Now, you do want to track performance closely as part of that execution too. So, I like tools, and the one I'm going to take you through does actively monitor engagement and performance, which I really like. And you can make sure that you are using the right tools to help you. Now, how to do this process? Now, there are different ways that you can do this. It can be done manually, so you could have a person sending out a set amount of emails every single day manually and building up slowly as they go. Now, it can be done for low cost, um, and you may have someone in your team that likes to do this, and that's great, but it can be really time consuming. And also, manual processes typically mean that you won't have the stats around engagements and performance. So, I do recommend rather, if you've got the budget and time to look at a automated tool that can help you, it's way faster, and generally you've got built-in analytics that can be a bit more reliable in terms of looking at audience engagement. You do want to monitor these key metrics and make sure that you are executing these as carefully as possible. Now, let's take a deep dive into one of my favorite tools that I've used previously. It is called Inbox Ally. Now, it is a specifically focused on email deliverability, and it's one of the few tools that I've used that really do a lot of individual steps really carefully. Now, as mentioned, if you're not someone that's done this before, I recommend looking at them as well. They've actually got a free trial available, which is really handy. And what I've done is actually register for the free trial so that you can see everything that's in the free trial, which is really cool. They do have a get started button here. So this means that you could walk through each step. If you're not familiar with a tool like this, you are pretty much guided through the process, which I quite like, and you'll be able to execute a number of steps. Now, I've done this really to save us time because I want to show you email warming specifically. However, the tool does guide you so that you can use things like seed emails and set up your profile specifically for your business. Now, seed emails can be helpful because you may not have an established list of email addresses that you'd like to execute your email campaigns through, and you may want to test this before you execute your email warming. I quite like this. They allow you to download your sample list here of CSVs. It's around about 82 in the seed list. And what you can do is then generate an email campaign, pop it off to these seed emails. And what you'll be able to do is get a real time feedback in terms of the actual placements itself. So, placement tracking refers to how many emails have landed in inbox, have some gone to spam, have some gone to promotions, have some even been blocked. So you do want to placement track these based on your seed emails to see what your email content is doing. However, then this is something to monitor with real email addresses going forward. So keep in mind that this is just sample data that's generated, but you will be able to have your dashboard updated once you've executed email campaigns to your true and accurate email sender list. Now, you will need to set up your sender emails and sender profiles as part of this. So that means that the tool can track those sender emails. So who is the email that will be sending this out for you? And that includes your profile as well. Now, there's another handy tool that I quite like here, which is called email list verification. So I don't have credits to do this. However, I have used this tool in the past. What you could do is if you do have a really large email list that you need to send off emails to, you may want to validate that information. So remember when we went back to starting with a clean list, really essential ensuring that you are warming your emails correctly. You could simply just pop it in here and the email list verification will pick up any invalid, any spam traps, any duplicate, etc. Emails in your email list and assist you by cleaning this for you, which I think is really cool. So super useful tool to have. Not all email deliverability tools have this. I think this is one of the really great features, and they do have credits available if you need to buy these specifically, which I think is quite a handy pricing structure to have as well. So keep that in mind. Now, going on to our warm-up planner, this is where you will be planning how your email warming will be executed. Again, one of the few tools that actually have this as part of their setup here and their features, which I really like. But before we dive into that, I do want to also just show you the email content tester, which I think is really cool. Now, it is in beta phase, however, it works really well. So if you've got a sample email that you'd like to send out, for example, what you could do is go and take your email content, for example. You could simply paste it into the email body here, which is really great. So I'm going to use an actual sample here, and let's pop it in here. Now, once you've gone and done that, you could also look at your any errors. So what it's doing, it's picking up spam words already for you, which I quite like. And then you can also score your subject line, and subject line is really important when sending emails to make sure that they are delivered and read and engaged with. Now, if it's a spammy subject line, some email senders might look at this and block this immediately. And we've all seen those kind of spammy emails coming through, and we just know that they are junk and we don't want to look at them. So you would actually be able to use the score my subject line right from the tool, which I think is really great. And you could see alternative subject lines and it would generate it for you. So as mentioned, really great, even though it's in beta phase. And let's just take one of these and pop them into our email subject line. So you could go ahead and use that, pop it into your subject line, and off you go. Now, you can also say fix my email or suggest alternatives for you, which I think is really great. Now, if you want to fix our email, it can also assist in recreating a fantastic email body that has removed your spam words for you, and you'll be able to use this as a template going forward for your email. So I think this is a fantastic feature to have. Again, not all of them have this. I think this is super useful. And it's quite fun to try out because there might be some words that you're not even aware are kind of spammy in the world of email content. Now, my favorite part and the key of this demo itself is the warm-up planner. Now, you may not be sure of how to warm up your email list or how to schedule it, what it should look like, where to even start. And I know I've been there before. So you would simply select your sender profile, which you would have set up, and you would have a look at what specific deliverability metric you want to estimate with. Now, perhaps you've sent out emails before and you've got a high complaint rate. That means that people are marking your mails as spammy or other. So you may want to fix that specifically. And I do like that they give you specific goals that you could help in regenerating the content. However, if you just want to simply work on inboxing rate, so this is where are these emails landing, looking at your inbox placements. Are they landing in the spam? Are they landing in the promotions tab or other? However, if you don't know this, you can simply select, I don't know these, and go from there. Now, it's important to remember that you also need to consider how your emails are added to your mailing list. And this could be opt-in or it could be cold. So this, in this example, cold emails are new contacts you've never had engagement with before, and those could be even harder to ensure that you get the right placement for those. So let's start with that. And let's have a look at how many emails you would be sending per day. Now, typically 100 to 1,000 is pretty low volume. So as a guideline, I'd recommend that you don't start too high. So for example, anything from 3 to 5,000 upwards is quite a high email send per day. Let's go for 10,000 because we are sending to a very large audience for this example. It's a really big campaign. And we could put in a sample size like that. Now, domain sending history refers to if you are a brand new domain, never had emails sent from before, you would be a new domain. However, this may be an established domain that you've generated emails from historically, but you've never sent out such large volumes of emails. You'll just need to tweak this based on your requirements, which I quite like that. Postmaster domain reputation means that if you had any flags before and you know that your domain is now seen as a low in terms of reputation, and this is something that you're actively working on, You can then go and select that. However, if you don't know, you would just select unknown. And then let's have a look. Daily sends needed. So this is what's going to be generated in terms of the plan and also the send ratio. Now, you could also select how aggressively you want to repair or boost deliverability. And if you're not sure, it will just choose the default for you. So let's select this plan. And what you would do is simply click on Generate Plan, and it will automatically tell you how many emails you need to send per day, what your send ratio should look like, and how to execute that. Now, this is something that is super useful. I do like that if you're not sure, you can reset this. Simply start again. Let's look at complaint rates. Let's look at sending out even more from an opt-in email list, from a new domain, and from a bad sender domain reputation. Generate your plan, and it will regenerate the content for you. So based on the information, you need to better understand your use case, and what you can do is then schedule a call with Inbox Ally, and they'll be able to walk you through this process, which I think is really handy. So keep that in mind. Use the tool. There's lots of other fantastic tools like domain reports that you could look at. So once you've sent out a few emails, what it will do is generate your domain information. So this looks at technical things like MX records and so on that I'm not going to jump into right now, but they do have this feature available in the tool as well, which will give you a bit more understanding of how your domain reputation is. They do, of course, have reports and anything else, and these will be populated once you have executed a few email campaigns. Hopefully this helps you out. Highly recommend having a look at Inbox Ally, and hopefully your email warming is a breeze from here. Thanks for joining me today.